All right, so today we're going to be exploring spin selling.
Okay.
And I've got Nova here, who's really an expert in sales strategy,
Thanks.
to help us break down this technique that's been refreshed for 2025.
So excited to be here.
So for our listeners out there who are sales and revenue leaders,
Yeah.
this deep dive is all about maximizing your team's impact
Right.
and helping you close more deals.
Absolutely.
Now we're basing this discussion on Meet Records Guide,
Okay.
Spin Selling, the ultimate guide for 2025.
Great guide.
So Nova Spin Selling's been around for a while.
It has.
This guide suggests it's more relevant than ever.
Yeah, definitely.
Why is that?
Well, you see, buyers today are more sophisticated, much more informed.
Okay.
Traditional sales tactics, they often fall flat.
Right.
Spin selling, though.
Yeah.
It's built on understanding your customers' needs deeply,
Okay.
not just pitching a product.
I see.
And it's a structured approach.
Okay.
Developed by Neil Rackham, based on analyzing over 35,000 sales calls to figure out what actually works.
So it's not just a random sales gimmick.
No, not at all.
It's rooted in some real data.
Yes.
What's the core idea?
So the foundation of spinning is asking the right questions
Okay.
in the right order.
Right.
It's about guiding the prospect through a journey of discovery, helping them understand their own needs better than they did before the conversation even started.
So it's almost like a consultative approach then.
Exactly.
Okay.
And, you know, these aren't just any questions.
Right.
There are 4 specific types.
Okay.
Situation, problem, implication,
All right.
and need-payoff.
Gotcha.
Hence the acronym SPIN.
Spin.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Each one plays a unique role in the conversation.
So let's break those down.
Yeah, sure.
What are situation questions?
So these set the scene.
Okay.
They gather context. Think of them as your starting point.
Right.
For a sales leader, an example might be, how are you currently tracking your team's sales performance? Or, tell me about your current process for onboarding new sales reps.
So you're not jumping right into a pitch.
No.
You're trying to understand their current reality.
Exactly.
All right, then what?
Then you move to problem questions.
Okay.
Here's where you start to uncover pain points, those challenges that keep sales leaders up at night.
Right.
You might ask, what are the biggest obstacles you're facing in hitting your revenue targets?
Okay.
Or what are some inefficiencies you've noticed in your sales process?
So you're getting them to articulate their needs?
Yes.
And probably some frustrations too.
Definitely.
I imagine this is where you start to hook their attention.
Precisely because once you've uncovered a problem, you transition to implication questions.
Okay.
These are powerful.
Right.
Because you help the prospect understand the consequences of not addressing that problem.
I see.
For instance, you might ask, how is that sales process inefficiency affecting your team's morale? Or, what's the cost of not hitting those revenue targets, not just financially, but in terms of market share or missed opportunities?
So you're not just presenting a problem.
No.
You're highlighting the potential negative ripple effects.
Right.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's not all doom and gloom, right?
All right.
How do you bring in the solution?
That's where need-payoff questions come in.
Okay.
These are about getting the prospect to articulate the benefits of solving the problem.
Right.
Notice you're not pitching features yet. You're focusing on the positive outcomes they desire.
I see.
An example could be, how would streamlining your sales process free up your team to focus on strategic initiatives?
Okay.
Or what would achieving your revenue goals enable you to do for your company or for your team?
So it's like they're painting a picture of their ideal future state,
Exactly.
almost selling themselves on the need for a solution.
Yeah,
That's clever.
it is.
It's not you pushing, it's them pulling.
Exactly. And that's a key reason why spin selling is so effective, especially for sales and revenue leaders who are dealing with complex deals and experienced buyers.
Yeah.
It builds trust and credibility.
Okay.
Because you're genuinely trying to understand and solve their problems.
Right.
Not just make a quick sale.
This is fascinating.
Yeah.
We've covered the 4 types of send-in questions.
I have.
And how they guide the conversation.
Yes.
In the next part, let's dive deeper into why this approach is so effective.
Okay.
And how it can really move the needle for sales teams.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back. So we've been unpacking the core of spin selling, those 4 types of questions that guide a truly effective sales conversation.
And I'm really intrigued by how this approach moves beyond just pitching. You mentioned earlier, Nova, that it's especially powerful for sales and revenue leaders.
Right.
Dealing with complex deals. Why is that?
Well, think about the sales challenges leaders face these days.
All right.
It's not about pushing a product anymore. It's
Right.
about solving these complex business problems. Buyers, especially at the leadership level, they're skeptical of canned pitches.
I bet.
They want to see you understand their unique context, their pain points.
Okay, so spin-in helps you build that credibility and trust
Exactly.
by showing you're not just there to close a deal,
Right.
but to actually help them.
Yes. And that's what Rackham's research confirms.
Oh, interesting.
His analysis of those 35,000 sales calls revealed that successful salespeople,
Yeah.
the ones consistently closing complex deals,
Okay.
were masters of the implication and need-payoff questions.
Okay, those are the ones that really dig into the consequences of the problem
Yes,
and the potential benefits of solving it.
exactly.
But why are those two question types so crucial,
Okay.
especially for our audience of sales leaders?
Because they shift the focus from features to impact.
Okay.
A sales leader isn't just buying a product.
Right.
They're investing in a solution that will have ripple effects across their entire team.
Yeah.
Their revenue targets their overall business strategy.
Okay, so by using implication questions,
Yes.
you're helping them see the potential negative consequences on a larger scale
Right.
if they don't address this problem.
Exactly. It's not just about a minor inconvenience. It's
Yeah.
about lost productivity,
Okay.
missed targets,
Right.
potentially even damage to their reputation or market share.
Yeah.
You're raising the stakes in a way that's meaningful to a leader.
And then with need-payoff questions, you're getting them to envision how solving this problem will positively impact those big picture goals.
Yes. They start to articulate how achieving their revenue targets could enable them to expand into new markets,
Oh, wow.
invest in their team's development,
Yeah.
or hit those ambitious strategic goals they've set for the company.
Right.
They're painting a picture of a brighter future,
I'd like if
and they're the ones doing the painting,
that's powerful.
which makes it all the more compelling.
Yeah, it's fascinating how spin taps into the psychology of decision-making.
I know, it's really interesting.
You're not telling them what to think.
Right.
You're guiding them to their own aha moment.
Exactly.
This is a powerful technique.
It is.
We've explored the why of spin selling
Yes.
and how it can benefit sales and revenue leaders specifically. Let's move on to the how in the next part.
Okay.
How can sales leaders effectively implement this technique within their teams and really put it into practice?
Sounds good.
Stay with us. Okay, so we're back, and we've been talking about how spin selling can really help sales and revenue leaders like you navigate the complexities of today's sales landscape.
Yeah, it's a framework that's stood the test of time. And, it's even more relevant now as buyers become more discerning and deals become more strategic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've seen how those 4 types of spin questions can really guide a conversation toward genuine understanding
Right,
and creating value.
Yeah.
But Nova, let's talk implementation.
Okay.
How can sales leaders actually put this into practice with their teams?
So the first step is training.
Okay.
Make sure your team understands not just the mechanics of the 4 questions.
But the philosophy behind them.
Right.
They need to grasp why this approach works.
Yeah.
Especially when dealing with experienced buyers.
So it's not just about memorizing a script.
No.
It's about internalizing the principles so
Yeah.
they can adapt and apply them
Exactly.
in real-world conversations.
Yeah, and role-playing and practice scenarios can be really helpful.
Okay.
Give them opportunities to try out these questions in a safe environment, get feedback, and refine their approach.
What about ongoing support?
Yeah.
How can sales leaders reinforce this method once the initial training is done?
Well, encourage your team to use Cispinian in their daily interactions,
Okay.
not just in formal sales meetings.
Right.
Debrief on successful calls, identify what worked well, and analyze situations where the approach might have fallen short.
So it's about creating a culture of continuous learning
Exactly.
and improvement around this customer-centric approach.
Precisely. And don't underestimate the power of the right tools. Yeah.
CRM systems can be customized to track CESPIN questions,
Right.
and conversation intelligence platforms like MeetRecord can provide insights into how effectively those questions are being used.
It sounds like data can play a key role in refining your team's spin selling skills over time.
Absolutely. You can analyze call recordings,
Okay.
identify patterns,
Uh-huh.
and coach your team on how to fine-tune their questions for maximum impact.
Jova, this has been incredibly insightful.
My pleasure.
For our listeners out there, sales and revenue leaders who are looking to elevate their team's performance,
Yes.
spin selling offers a proven framework
It does.
for having more meaningful, impactful sales conversations.
Remember, it's about building trust,
Hmm.
understanding your customer's world deeply,
Right.
and guiding them towards a solution that genuinely helps them achieve their goals.
Those are powerful takeaways. So take a look at your team's current sales approach.
Yeah,
Could incorporating spin techniques help them stand out in a crowded market and close more of those complex, high-value deals?
I believe so.
Thanks for joining us, Nova.
Thanks for having me.
And to our listeners, if you're ready to dive deeper into spin selling, check out Meet Records Guide, Spin Selling, the ultimate guide for 2025. We'll link it in the show notes. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep learning.